All right, let's take a little tour through maybe the most complex and fascinating structure in the entire universe, the architecture of the human mind. We're going to explore what makes you, well, you.
I mean, really think about it. Have you ever looked at a sibling and just wondered, how did we grow up in the same house? Or, why you might feel totally confident with your family, but then in a big crowd, you act completely different? These are the exact questions that get right to the heart of what makes us tick.
So, to start our tour, we've got to begin at the foundation. We have to ask the big question, what even is psychology?
At its core, it's pretty simple. It's the science of us. The word psychology itself kind of gives it away, right? It comes from these old Greek words, psyche, which meant soul or spirit, and logia, which means study. So, in a way, we've been trying to study the soul for literally thousands of years.
But the way we think about it has definitely changed over time. The word itself popped up around the Renaissance. But it wasn't until 1890 that this brilliant thinker, William James, called it the science of mental life. And now, today, we've broadened it even more to cover the scientific study of both the mind and our behavior.
So, let's step into the first major room on this tour. This is where we get personal. This is all about how you became you.
And you know what's wild? This whole process starts so early. Get this, a staggering 90% of your brain's physical development, it's all done by the time you're just 5 years old. 90%! Just think about that. The blueprint for who you are is basically set before you even learn to tie your shoes. That foundation is everything.
So how does that shaping happen? Well, it's a really complex mix. Stuff like getting attentive care when you're a baby helps build a secure foundation for all your future relationships. And as kids, we're like little sponges, just learning by watching everything. And I mean everything. It's this incredible dance between our genes and our environment, constantly interacting to sculpt the person we're becoming.
And all of that builds what we call personality, that core part of you that, believe it or not, tends to stay pretty stable your whole life. And it's influenced by all sorts of things. Some studies suggest birth order might play a part, like firstborns often being more persistent. We also see that certain traits, like being an extrovert, often correlate with more happiness, while other traits, like high neuroticism, that's just a tendency toward anxiety and moodiness, can sometimes be linked with certain health problems.
Okay, so we've looked at you as an individual. Now, what happens when we put that individual in a group? Things get weird. Welcome to the social mind. And one of the most powerful and, frankly, kind of chilling things we see here is the bystander effect. It's this bizarre principle where the more people who see an emergency, the less likely it is that any single person will actually step up and help. It's not because people are bad, it's this weird diffusion of responsibility where everyone just assumes someone else has it covered.
And here's another mental glitch we all have. Check this out. It's called the actor-observer bias. When we mess up, we blame things outside of our control. Ugh, the traffic was terrible. But when we see someone else mess up, we jump straight to conclusions about who they are as a person. They're just lazy or they're so irresponsible. We give ourselves a pass, but not others.
Now, the reason our brains do this is because they're wired for efficiency. They create these mental shortcuts, psychologists call them schemas, to quickly categorize the world. Your schema for beach includes sand, water, sun. It's super useful. But there's a dark side. When we apply those same shortcuts to people, that's when it can lead to prejudice and harmful stereotypes.
All right, let's step away from the crowd for a minute and go under the hood. It's time to check out the actual cognitive machinery that powers this whole experience, your inner engine.
Your brain is filtering information at an absolutely insane speed. For example, a picture you see, a visual image, it's gone from your short-term memory in just 20 to 30 seconds. Boof! Unless you're actively trying to remember it.
And if you think that's fast, what you hear is even quicker. That echo of a sound in your mind, it lasts for a mere 2 to 4 seconds. It's just this constant, frantic cycle of processing and then immediately discarding information.
And while we're talking about the brain, let's just bust a huge myth right now. You've absolutely heard this before, that we only use 10% of our brains. Nope, it is completely, totally false. Brain scans show us, without a doubt, that you are using your entire brain all the time.
And to give you an idea of just how hard that whole brain is working, look at this. It's only about 2% of your body weight, but it uses a whopping 20% of your body's energy. It is an incredibly hungry, power-demanding machine.
And that engine is still firing even when you're asleep. Fun fact, you dream every single night, whether you remember it or not. And those dreams happen in little bursts, about 5 to 20 minutes long. But here's the kicker, studies show that negative emotions are actually more common in our dreams than positive ones. Kinda weird, right?
Okay, so as we're coming to the end of our little tour here, let's just take a second to put all these different rooms and hallways into perspective.
Look, what we've walked through today is just the tiniest glimpse of this massive, incredible field. From how we're built to how we act in groups to how our brain actually works, psychology is this amazing science dedicated to unraveling the mystery of what it even means to be human.
So our tour might be over, but really, your exploration is just getting started. We've looked at the basic blueprint of the mind, so now the final question is all yours. Now that you've seen the architecture, what's one room in your own mind you want to go explore next?